Equity and social justice. The legal system is an age-old system that exists in every civilization. These legal systems operate in dramatically different ways, however. During the Dark Ages, for instance, most legal disputes were settled by the Church, which existed as the sole legal authority in most parts of the Western world. But later, with the Enlightenment, new ideas developed which removed legal authority from the religious realm and placed it in the realm of the rational. Regardless of the institution heading the legal authority, however, a common concern has always been the pursuit of equity. More recently, equity law has turned into a specialized field of legal study. Equity is largely concerned with issues of fairness, and although some legal issues fall outside the realm of fairness per se, laws are usually drawn up on the basis of equity. Once drawn up, however, it is adherence to the law that is the concern, and fairness is no longer independently considered. For example, someone may drive over the speed limit. When that person is ticketed and goes to court for the violation of the law, there are no issues of fairness being evaluated. The person simply broke an established law and will have to face the consequences. By and large, most criminal proceedings are not focused on the pursuit of fairness, but the execution of a law. For example, the familiar saying, "an eye for an eye," which is clearly equitable, is not typically practiced today. There are a number of issues within civil law, however, that are not related to any specific piece of legislation. Divorce hearings, for instance, are heard by a judge who essentially decides how to divide the assets of the two spouses. Each side presents its case, and the judge is largely concerned with fair distribution of the assets. Equity law only resides on a few basic guidelines that are often abstract and lack specificity, known as maxims of equity. Nonetheless, legal decisions within equity law are legally binding but are not specific to any given law or statute. Equity law is commonly linked to the concept of justice. But justice is a difficult concept to define and explain, as it represents more of an idealistic vision at best. Justice is the ideal state for humanity, typically associated with equality and peace. In spite of, or perhaps because of, its idealism, there have been no actual definitions of justice. The concept can be broad and may focus on the outcome of a given action. For instance, a person advocating social justice may argue that it cannot be realized until all people are paid fairly for their work and live free of poverty. Proponents of economic justice believe that justice cannot be achieved until total financial equality has been established among all people. Justice lacks a solid definition and is borrowed by different groups with different goals. With regard to the legal system, justice may be a goal to ensure that every individual gets equal protection under the law. Since equity law is centrally concerned with issues of fairness and not other ideals like public safety, then it could be said to be in pursuit of justice. Since the concept of justice lacks any actual grounding or definition, it has come under a significant amount of fire. Critics point out that those who reference the word justice not only fail to provide a definition, but cannot even clarify if it is a series of actions or a virtue. Others have gone so far as to say that considerations of justice are irrelevant and unimportant. What does matter, they argue, are the actual conditions produced by a system. Whether the process or outcome conforms to some ideal standard is irrelevant. Regardless of the challenges, justice at its best represents an ideal that a system should strive towards. In conclusion, equity law could be viewed as a pursuit of legal justice, an effort to realize equal treatment under the law while ensuring that the specifics of a situation are taken into account. It represents an interesting body of law as it does not put the court or the state in the position of authority or liaison between the written laws and an individual. Instead, equity law provides a legally binding resolution to a conflict that exists. Its relationship with justice is tenuous, however, as justice is an abstract, undefined concept in the legal body. Fortunately, the two do not necessarily have to be associated, as equity law is self-contained and capable of operating without a definite concept of justice.